Please stop.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is a brand new horror slasher film directed by Jennifer Kaytin Robinson, starring Madeline Klein, Chase Suey Wonders, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Freddie Prinze Jr. And what is up, everyone? My name is Danny. Welcome to Jones Vibes. This is a franchise that I have long waited to see back on the big screen. It's one of my favorite horror franchises. I Know What You Did Last Summer. The first movie was one of the first horror films that I ever watched. I was way too young to be obsessed with it, but I was. And over the years, just like seeing all of these other horror franchises getting their moment in the spotlight, getting their reboot, I've been sitting here like, what about I Know What You Did Last Summer? But here we are. We made it. I just got out of this film. I am extremely excited right now. This will be an out-of-theater reaction. I have a lot to say. This will also be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about me spoiling anything. But without further ado, let's dive in. All right, I know what you did last summer. When 5 friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret rather than face the consequences. A year later, their past comes back to haunt them and they're forced to confront a horrifying truth. Someone knows what they did last summer and is hell-bent on revenge. And first off, I just want to kind of set the stage here. I want to talk about expectations. This is something that I was thinking about when I was driving home. Obviously, over the next couple of days or whenever reviews start coming out, you're going to see people that didn't like this film, you're going to see people that did like this movie. This movie has a lot going on in it. It's definitely an I Know What You Did Last Summer film, so that's why I want to talk to you guys about where I'm coming from. I love horror franchises. I'm a massive horror fan, and this franchise is one of my personal favorites. Again, I got into it way too young, but the reason I liked it so much is because as a young man, I saw Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. And I would watch it all the time because it was just all of these attractive people with a bunch of horror, and horror is really fun to watch. You also have Freddie Prinze Jr. and Ryan Phillippe. They were like the coolest dudes ever when I was young, you know what I mean? These were like role models of mine. I was like, man, I want to be like Ryan Phillippe. He seems so cool. And as I've gotten older and I've gotten more into horror and more into like the critical aspect of movies, I haven't forgotten about these campy franchise horror films. But there are certain expectations that you have when you watch these because these are shitty franchise horror movies. That's what it's supposed to be. And so I went into this film hoping that it was that. And I just don't want to see, I mean, this is among the things that I was thinking about after the movie. I don't want to see like a younger audience get swallowed up by a bunch of super critical reviews of this film and go into it with a mindset of like, dang it, this isn't going to be a perfect movie, because in the first place, like before going into it, you should never be thinking that this film is going to be a perfect movie. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an I Know What You Did Last Summer film. This is supposed to be the movie that you go to a Blockbuster on a Friday night. Back in the day, I know a lot of you guys might not remember that type of thing, but you see I Still Know What You Did Last Summer on the shelf and you're like, damn, that sounds like a good time, and it delivers. It delivers exactly what you want it to be, and that's what this movie is. You don't go to this movie to watch Oppenheimer. You go to see a slasher horror film and have a great time. You go, let's be frank here, to see a bunch of hot people get murdered. And so that's where I'm coming from with films like this. It's the same way that I would look at like a Marvel movie. I go into a Marvel movie expecting a Marvel movie. I go into any other franchise or a Nolan movie expecting a Nolan movie, but this is something that you can just have fun with. This movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the reboot, it worked for me on so many different levels. First off, you have this young, very cliche cast that feels very reminiscent of the original characters, and so you're looking at all of them the entire time like, oh, I can kind of see what's going on here. But I give all the props in the world to this director because at every turn throughout this thing, she did subvert expectations. She took the things that we thought were going to happen and she made us second guess ourselves, and that's something that's fun to do when you're in a movie theater with a bunch of people because you have no idea what's about to happen. I will say the young cast members are really great. The standouts for me, though, are Madeline Klein and Tyreek Withers. They kind of play the Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Phillippe couple role. They kind of fill that void in the movie, but both of them, I truly thought they both were pretty iconic. The most iconic moments, the moments that I'm going to remember from this film, were having to do with them. But there also was the main character. She's played by Chase Suey Wonders, and I would say she was good, but I didn't quite come around to it till maybe towards the end of the movie, till things really started picking up. And that's something that you'll notice with this film. When you're watching it, it might not move as fast as the originals do. You get to the car accident fairly quickly, but after that, there's quite a while until the fisherman really shows up. But when he does, it's absolutely worth it. Like, when you see the fisherman standing there, it was very, very similar to Scream 5 and that iconic moment where Ghostface is standing over Jenna Ortega. Like, there's this moment where the fisherman enters a room and you're like, yes, dude, we are so back. And all of the kills following that were so brutal and so gory. That's what I wanted out of this film. I just wanted it to kind of push the envelope a little bit with what we've seen in the past, because let's be real here, I still know what you did last summer. You got a hook going through a guy's neck and pulling him up. Like, it is a very gory franchise, and that's kind of what separates it from some of the other franchises. I think the staple of I Know What You Did Last Summer is some of the shocking imagery, and I think the director did a really good job at bringing that to the forefront of this one. There are also just a lot of iconic shots that are reminiscent of the original franchise. But at the end of the day, fans like me are showing up for a couple things. You're showing up for the fisherman, but also I saw the trailer. I know that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in this film, and they are in this film. They reprised their roles. We got Julie James back in the flesh, and we have Ray Bronson back in the flesh, and it was just so great to see these two. You know, there is definitely a leg up when it comes to performances when you see these two on screen, because obviously we have history with them. We've seen them in a lot of other things, but they're older and very talented actors, and so a couple of the scenes that they have together, you're just like, dang, dude, like, I wish that we just had a spin-off of just these two doing their thing, you know what I mean? But the younger cast is great, and the movie very much does focus on them, but the moments that you do get with Ray and Julie, it's just freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome to see them again. And as we kind of hurtle towards the end of this movie, there's a lot of really gruesome moments. There's a lot of messaging that's like, I know what you did last summer, you know what I mean? Or you're next. There's certain moments that keep you going through it. And it has a third act that you get to and you feel like the movie's over. And I honestly was left sitting there like, okay, I would probably say I would give this movie maybe like, I don't know, 3 stars out of 5, 3.5 stars out of 5. But then the third act continues and it goes somewhere that you never really thought, like, it goes to a place that I never pictured this franchise going. And it absolutely, I'll say that again, it subverted expectations. And I'm proud of this director for taking swings like this. You'll see what I'm saying when you see this movie, and I promise you, you probably can't guess what's going to happen in the final act of this film. So that's why you should avoid spoilers. Definitely avoid spoilers before going and seeing this, because it's a classic case of a whodunit and you're trying to guess the entire time. And it did leave me speechless in the end. I was like, wow, okay, so that is what we're doing. And I hope it's setting up a sequel. I hope there are more movies in this franchise because I thought it did a great job. That being said, I do kind of anticipate this movie to be ripped apart by some critics because it's not a perfect movie, and that's kind of just what happens with these campy horror films. Personally, over here on Jones Vibes, as big of a horror fan as I am, I absolutely loved it. This is franchise heaven. This is slasher heaven. It was everything that I wanted to see out of The Fisherman's Return. It was big and bold. It had a bunch of nostalgia. It had some shocking twists, and it also had some insane cameos that I know that you guys will not be expecting. It's amazing, dude. Like, I freaking love this movie. This is one of the first franchise horror films in quite a while that I've wanted to go straight back to. Like, I cannot wait to watch this movie again. As for my Jones Vibes star rating, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. Very similar to what I would give the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, as well as I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. But if you go check this movie out, please leave me your thoughts down in the comments. Also, if you're a fan of this franchise, leave me all of your thoughts down below. I would love to hear your opinion, and it is always welcome around here. But more than anything, my friends, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes. I will see you in the next video, all right? Peace!